Hello. Today I'm going to discuss issues regarding electrical safety. Electricity is the flow or movement of electrical charge or power through the wires and cables throughout your house, your school, your work, and many places of entertainment. Electrical power, the electricity, comes from the burning of coal, natural gas, oil, also comes from solar panels that pull in the sun's energy to convert to electricity, also windmills and nuclear power. All of these are sources of power to convert into electricity. And as I said, electricity is part of everything that we do nowadays. So whether it is in your home with appliances, refrigerator, washer, dryer, stove, it could be at work with various tools and equipment, of course in schools for technology, and also for entertainment, like movies and games. There are 4 areas that I'm going to cover in talking about electrical safety, and they include preventing electrical power risk. Risks are possible dangers. We also think of them as hazards. Identifying electrical hazards, knowing what risks or hazards are there, so then we can prevent them. Possible injuries due to electrical hazards. What kind of injuries can happen to you or to others? And contacts for questions and answers that you may have regarding different electrical issues. All right, so first, looking at preventing electrical power risk. Prevention is the most important thing that we can do regarding possible electrical hazards or risk. First, you want to turn off any appliances or equipment that is not being used. That way you know that it will not be a danger or risk. This also helps to save electrical energy and lower your cost. Unplug appliances and equipment before working on them, even if you think it's just going to take a moment. Electrical injuries can happen very quickly. Do not overload sockets, extension cords, power strips, or circuits in your house or work. Overload means to put too much into something, or to try and get too many things perhaps plugged in to the same socket, like this, or extension cords, like this. You do not want to take an extension cord and then add additional sockets like this. If you have plugs in these different socket receptacles, and then you are also plugging in an adapter like this to get even more, you can overload, meaning there's too much plugged into your wall socket or your extension cords. Overloading can be a possible risk or danger. Keep electrical power cords clear of tools. So, if I am using any power tool, power means that you have to have energy for it. Not like a handsaw or a screwdriver. A power tool means you have an energy source. You want to make sure this drill, for example, if I had a bit in here, I need to make sure that the cord is out of the way. That's true for any power tool and power cord. Do not use light-duty electric cords with power tools. This is an example of a light-duty electric cord that you would use in your house to plug in a lamp, to plug in something else like that. Never use this kind of electric extension cord with power tools. If you need an extension cord for your power tools, make sure it is what we call heavy duty. It has extra protection and can handle the power requirements for your tools. Okay, turn off power tools before plugging them in. I want to make sure if there is an on-off switch that it is turned off. If I go to plug this drill in to the wall, I want to make sure my finger is not on this bright orange section here, which is actually to turn it on. So you have to make sure where your fingers are, and also if there's an off switch before plugging in any power tool. Before you cut into a wall or nail things into a wall, you should locate or find any electrical wires in the wall. And you can find or buy equipment, small detectors that you run along the wall, and it will let you know if there are electrical wires there. It's very important you do not want to cut in to any wires. You could damage them, and you could also injure yourself. Do not run wires under any mats or rugs. So I want to be very careful, and that if I am using extension cords in my home, I do not put these on the floor, the extension cord, and then put any kind of rug or mat or carpet, nothing, over the extension cords. There are reasons for that, and that is, as you walk over the rug or mat, you can actually start to wear away this outer coating that is on the extension cord to protect you from the wires inside. If you wear it away, then if it is under a rug, you can actually start a fire from those exposed wires being up against the rug. So you want to make sure you never put these under any kind of rug or mat. You cannot see the wires or the cords if they're under there, so you can't tell if they're getting worn away. All right. Call the electric company or 811 before digging to bury any lines, bushes, or trees. If you are doing any work outside, like I said, you are burying any lines for any reason, any bushes or trees where you have to dig down a ways, call 811 first. It is known as misdig in Michigan. Most states also have something similar, but in Michigan it's called misdig. It is used by both homeowners and businesses. They will actually come out. You need to call at least 3 days, business days, before you are going to do any work outside. They will come out and mark the different utilities. For example, they will put red flags where there are electric lines, yellow flags for gas or oil, orange for communication, that might be for your cable or phones, blue for drinking water, green for sewer lines, and purple for what they call reclaimed water irrigation. So that might be for water outside for yards or what have you. But they will mark each of these by either spray paint or flags so that you know where these different utilities are so you can avoid them. Okay. You want to avoid mixing any liquid, water or any liquid, with electricity. So if there is a spill near electrical appliances, you should, or equipment, you should turn those off first, then clean up the spill. Because if you are in contact with water and electrical equipment, you can get injured. And also that can injure or destroy the equipment or appliance. So if there is any water or any liquid that needs to be cleaned up around electrical appliances or equipment, turn off the appliance or equipment first, then thoroughly clean the area. Do not go into a flooded basement unless you are wearing rubber boots. And these are the real rubber boots. There are many boots out there that look as if they are made of rubber, but they are not. So if you go into a flooded basement where there are electrical appliances, water heater, furnace, washer, dryer, another refrigerator, anything down there, when you touch that water, you step into it, even with tennis shoes or anything else on, you can be seriously injured. So you need to keep a pair of real rubber boots on your first floor or somewhere where you don't have to go to the basement to get them, because then it's too late. That is very important. Assume, that means believe, that all the power lines outside, overhead lines we call them, that all of those are lethal, meaning deadly. They can kill you. So if you are putting up a ladder to cut some branches from a tree or work on your house, make sure the ladder is nowhere near any overhead lines. And assume or believe that all downed wires are lethal or deadly. So if a wire comes down, it may just be lying there and you think it is okay. It is not. There could still be electrical power going to that line. Lines can also move on their own. They can actually move due to the electricity going through them. So you need to stay far away from them. If one is down in the road and you're headed that way, you need to back up and find a different way to go. Do not ever drive over electric lines. All right, now I want to talk about identifying electrical hazards. How do you know that there is a possible danger? If you ever touch any water pipe that has water running through it, and you get a shock, like a shock, or even a tingle, just a little feeling, call the electric company immediately. You should never have a shock or tingle from a water pipe. That means somewhere electricity is touching that pipe, and it can be very dangerous. If you get a shock or tingle from electric appliances or equipment, again, get those checked out immediately. Unplug them and make sure they are repaired or checked before you use them again. Damaged cords and plugs should be replaced. That means you throw them out. This cord has electric tape on it in a couple different places. This is not really safe. If you have a cord that has exposed wire, that means you can see the wire, or that there's like a burn in the material on the outside of the wires, the coating. you need to replace these. Do not put electrical tape over them, because in time, it could still be a safety hazard. So if there's what we call blistering, where this starts to open up a little bit, fraying, which means you can see these wires, they are exposed, or even melting. If these get too hot, they can actually melt, which is one of the reasons you don't use power tools with light-duty cords. Okay. For sockets, you have to be careful. This is a socket that was in a wall. It was being replaced, and fortunately it was, because the person who had this did not know that there had been an electric problem in the wall. It had actually burned the socket, causing it to break open. So wiring in the walls needs to be installed or done by someone who knows what they're doing. It can be very dangerous if not. You also want to replace any old sockets that only have room for 2 prongs. The prongs are the end of the cord that you put into the wall, into the socket. So if you have extension cords that have only 2 prongs, look at replacing those, but also do not use adapters with only room for 2 prongs. And if you have this kind of socket for 2 prongs, you can buy adapters to go into the socket. And it has space for 3 prongs. But when you put this adapter into the socket, you need to make sure that you attach this little metal piece that is part of this adapter. Screw it into your socket. So there's the little screw that comes with your socket. You take this adapter, plug it in, and then just put that screw back, making sure that little metal piece of the adapter is also attached. That is to help prevent any electrical hazards or risks. Water and other liquids, as I said before, should never be near electrical outlets, plugs, appliances, or equipment. That can be a serious safety hazard, whether it's in your kitchen, your bathroom, at home, or in a work environment. So now I'm going to talk about some possible injuries from electrical hazards. One is electric shock. As I said, when you touch something and it's like, ow, it could be very light shock or it could be very serious and do damage to you. Burns, electrical equipment, cords, wires that are not properly taken care of, have exposed wires. You can get serious burns from electrical injuries. Falls, if you are using a ladder and you come in contact with any kind of electric wires, that can cause you to be shocked and you fall. And electrocution. Electrocution is fatal. That means you have died from coming in contact with electricity. Those are all serious possible injuries. Contacts for possible questions. Again, if you are going to dig outside, make sure you call 811. 811 for Miss Dig. That is a free service. Also, if you are in the city of Detroit and you need building permits for electrical use or installation, you need to call the City of Detroit Building Permits Division. And the state of Michigan also has regulations regarding electrical installation. Always make sure that if you need permits, that you get them. They could save you a lot of hassles later on. So in summary, you need to be aware of power risk, electric power risk. You need to identify any potential electrical hazards so you can take care of them before there is a problem. Be aware of what kind of injuries can happen to you. When you understand the seriousness of working with electrical power and you know what can happen to you, you are more likely to act in a safe manner. And know whom to contact if you have questions. That is our electrical safety instruction for today. If you go to your book in Unit 1, it will give you more detailed information. Thank you.